Welcome to Albuquerque Real Estate Talk, episode 497. It is Independence Day weekend, 4th of July weekend, kind of. I mean, we're past
It's
past it.
we're past it, but I'm still wearing my shirt. So if
I
you're
know, I
watching
know.
us online, you'll see I'm wearing my patriotic shirt still.
It's an interesting patriotic shirt because it's a American flag made with bowling ball and bowling pins. So
It
it's
is.
quite cute.
It
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
actually the our team bowling shirt from last year that I got everybody. So anyway, fun stuff.
This week, Tracy, we're going to talk about the June market stats. Of course, it's a new month. We can look at what happened with home sales and home prices in the Albuquerque area. I've got a new data set on mortgages and talk about what's going on with all the mortgages that we have in New Mexico. And there's some surprising data there that's going to take some people by surprise if they haven't been paying attention. Tracy, you got a question of the week. We've got information about mortgage programs. And of course, I'm sure we'll go down some rabbit hole along the way.
So Tigo, let's talk about June sales. We're at into July now. I'm sure you have some data that's hot off the press
I
that you've
do.
put together beyond what's out there in the world.
Do I have data?
Of
Okay,
course.
first off, June home sales are actually down 14%. The number of homes sold. I want to clarify this. We're looking at the Albuquerque metro area, all homes, single family, detached, and attached that sold. And it was only 816, which is a
Wow.
pretty low number
For June.
for June. That is down 14% from last year, 2023. 2023 was down 22% from 22.
Wow.
You get all that? So, yeah,
Yes, I
and
did.
actually 22 was kind of June of 22, that's kinda when things kinda went nutty with mortgage rates too, but anyway, so sales are slow, slow in the sense that not as many as we've seen over the last really 10 years. I looked at a go ahead.
So let's talk about why, right? Is it because the people don't wanna buy a house?
No, I don't think so. I mean, based on just, some of that's anecdotal, right? We get the sense of it here on our team. We got a lot of people calling looking for homes.
Right, and the issue really is home prices and availability of homes for sale.
Yeah, and I would put when you say home prices, obviously the affordability, right? It's
Right,
it's home prices as long as well as
the
interest
cost of
rates
money.
and as well as just all the other cost of living things out there that has put the pressure on people. And there's people that definitely want to be homeowners that either can't find something or can't afford something or are frustrated about it. That's one of the reasons I want to talk about all these different mortgage programs that are out there because I think there's some opportunities for people that may not be aware of it. Let me just talk one thing that jumped out at me on this home sales data, and if I look at it, this the last 12 months, at least in the stats I'm looking at, there's about 9,500 homes that sold in the last year. These are again single family, attached and detached
In the metro area.
in the metro area. So 9,500. That's the lowest level since we've seen since 2014 in the number of homes. So it's been quite a
10
while.
years.
Yeah, it's been 10 years since we've seen this few homes selling in Metro Albuquerque. Well, what does that mean? Well, it just means that, like you said, people, I think it's a combination. One, there's buyers that want to buy, they can't find anything, and there's sellers that want to sell that are locked in at a really good mortgage rate and don't want to move too.
Or sellers who want to move but can't find a house to move to. They're concerned, if I sell my house, where am I gonna go to? Because again, there aren't enough homes on the market.
And it's kind of locked up.
Right.
I've got this hypothesis I want to run by you, Tracy. I know that's a big word. I know it's a big word.
You said it well, though.
Okay, good, good. It's a hard word to say. We've seen a surge in the number of homes on the market this year, so we're up over last year. Let me
A
actually,
surge, that
yeah, I know it
sounds like
does.
a lot, but
Yeah,
we're up.
yeah, we're up. The number of homes on the market is up 23% from last year.
So
So, yeah,
that's
I mean,
significant.
yeah, so there's more homes on the market. The other thing, and the stat I've been talking about here now for weeks, is the number of homes that have reduced price. Price reductions are about 40% of 44% last I looked of all the homes that are on the market. But I think there's a lot of wishful pricing maybe on homes. And I think there may be a fair amount of people. I heard another real estate analyst talking about this, and it kind of struck with me. That's where this came from. I didn't, it wasn't my original. I think there's a lot of people that are putting wishful pricing out there. If they can get their price and the numbers work, then they can do their move. But if they can't get their price and they can't get that number that they need to make their move, they're just going to stay put. So I don't know. We'll see here over the next few months if a lot of the homes that are on the market just end up coming off the market and don't sell.
Yeah, that's a tough one for people who need to sell. They really need to price it for the condition, location, and their motivation to make sure that they can get to that next stage in their life, right?
Yeah, and I don't wanna be all doom and gloom. I mean, there were still almost 1,000 homes that went under contract in June, meaning pending. So, I mean, there's activity. We know homes are selling. That's not it. It's just a lot slower than it's been. And let's just hit on pricing because, of course, everybody wants to know what's going on with prices. And there's a separation here between median price, so that's the middle price between all the homes that sold, and that hit 355,000 in June, which is actually down from about 360 in May. So median prices actually pulled back and they're only about 1.5% higher than a year ago. Okay, so that's median price. That's the middle of all the homes that sold. But when you look at it from a price per square foot standpoint, June was an all-time high. So actually surpassed May, $211 per square foot. That's up about 5.5% from last June. So we've got this separation between the median price and the price per square foot. Price per square foot is still going up above the, let's say, long-term average of about 4%.
So our listeners know Tigo. They've been listening. They know it's all because of the size of homes, like especially new constructions coming down, correct?
Yeah, I pulled some just summary data and I looked at June of last year. It was about median square footage was just over 1,800, or no, it was about 1,880 square feet. This year, it's just about 1,800 square feet. So let's say 80 square foot, 75 square foot smaller. That's why we see median prices flat versus price per square foot continuing to go up.
Got
So
it. Okay.
that's what we got for
So,
market stats. Yeah. Well, no, you got your own stuff. You got
well,
some stats.
so we had a question from someone we're working with
Yeah,
that said, "Hey, I really want to know." And I said, "Hey, that's a great question. I don't know." So the question was, they said, "I'd really like to buy a townhome, and this must be really plentiful, maybe a duplex. I could rent one side out,
I'm
or a
chuckling.
or
Yeah.
a townhome." And I thought to myself, we don't have a lot of townhomes in our market that like come to mind. So I did the stats for them. So, Tigo, my numbers of properties sold are a little different than yours. You said 99,000 something or other. I did all of our MLS, and you know that all of our MLS might include Penasco or Vaughn or
Well, yeah, we get grants and we get
Grants
Santa
or
Fe and we get
yeah.
some bleed over from Santa Fe. Yep.
So the numbers, I did everything, not just the metro, right? So of all the properties sold in the last year, rolling year, 995 were attached properties. Now attached for us is condo townhome, right? So
Correct.
it could be a building of condos that are 100 condos in it or more, right? But 995, there were 9,115 detached homes sold. So the attached properties are more than 10%. I can math, right? 9,115 to
Hey, that
995.
was good.
And
You
then,
sure? I would have needed a calculator for that.
well, I mean, it's more than 10% because it's almost 1,000 with 9,000. But anyway, manufactured homes, just since I was looking at it, 450 sales through our MLS were manufactured homes. We know throughout rural New
And this
Mexico,
is for the entire year,
yeah, not calendar year,
but
rolling year,
rolling 12-month. Yeah.
12-month,
Okay.
450 manufactured. We know in outlying areas, there's a lot more percentage of manufactured homes,
Yeah,
right?
rural areas in New Mexico,
Yeah.
much higher percentage for sure.
So, which since I was looking, I thought I'd look and see how many land sales there were through MLS, 2,028 land sales. We know a lot of those land sales are multiple units, right? So, a bulk of lots perhaps that were sold as one through MLS, but 2,028 land sales. And since I was looking, sometimes we get people saying, "Hey, I really want a lease option or a lease purchase." And we go, "Yeah, doesn't really make sense." But
How many were there?
of the whole MLS in the past year, guess
I
how many
I'd
closed?
I'd be surprised if there was any, but let's say 20.
Let's say 2. Lease option or lease purchase, 2 sold that way through the MLS. You know, when we put a house in sold in our multiple listing service, it asks us, how was it sold? Was it cash? Was it conventional? Was it FHA? Was it a trade? Was it owner financing? Speaking of owner financing, I looked at too. Oh,
Okay, wait. Okay, so just under 10,000. I'm gonna say it was probably. You see, there weren't a lot this year because it's just. Well, no, it might be more because mortgage rates went to. Okay, sorry, I'm just you. I don't need
processing,
processing. It's 300.
187.
Oh, okay.
And we don't know all of them. Some people don't go through the MLS when they sell owner financing.
A lot of those deals don't, and I know that for a fact.
So you're
They're
probably closer
yeah,
to.
they're kinda off the books deals, yeah.
Okay, so this is completely unrelated, but since we're in the just past 4th of July and we had all those issues with all of our pets and fireworks and things, we had extra dogs at our house for the 4th of July, pet sitting for family and friends. I was thinking about how many houses sold that had in the showing conditions pet present, because when we are working with home sellers that have dogs, cats, other pets in their home, it's hard for them, right? They have a hard time with, maybe they're at work and somebody wants to see their house. They have to race home and either take their pet out or put their dog in a kennel or put their cats in a kennel. Or we've had clients who take their pets to like doggy daycare every day while they're on the market, just different things. And I was do you want to guess what percentage of those sold properties had present as a showing condition?
Um,
No,
Cup
900.
oh, 900.
900.
See, I would have guessed lower than that.
I
Wow,
would have guessed higher, but,
interesting. So
you
about
know,
10%.
yeah,
Yeah,
almost.
math
Yeah.
again.
Well, there was 9,115 detached and 900, basically 1,000. So that's, of 10,000, there was 900 that had pet present for showing instructions. And just for fun, 39, one of the showing conditions was day sleeper. So those people who work nights and you're trying to sell your house and you have to sleep during the day, poor those people. 39 of them were day sleepers that sold a house last year. And you know, as somebody who works with a lot of buyers and shows houses, I feel so bad when I read showing instructions and I see that pet present, need lots of time to have the seller accommodate you to do that. When we work with buyers sometimes and all of a sudden they have a free day that they didn't expect to have and they want to go look at houses and we're making these appointments, and those poor sellers, when they get that last minute call and they know they want to get their house sold, they want to show it, but it's an inconvenience. So anyway, I just thought I'd throw out some of those fun
Yeah,
details.
it's interesting. It makes me think about all these little details that we work through when we're working with buyers and or sellers, and all those little things that come up as we go through this crazy thing called real estate. Tracy, I wanted to jump. I was invited to present to a group, an investor group, a real estate investor group here last week, and of course, I talked about the market, gave my sense of the market and where things are at. And one question, I also talked about the realtor settlement because a lot of the people in that group are realtors, and of course, most of them work with realtors. So I gave a presentation on what they need to know about the realtor settlement and how things are going to change on August 1st. And go back a week ago if you want to know more on our radio show because we did a deep dive on that. Anyway, I had multiple people come up to me and say, "Hey, how do I find all the deals? How do I find the foreclosures? How do I find the give me a list of all the foreclosures and stuff and how do we get that?" And it was hard for me not to just say, "Yeah, sorry, I don't know who's training you and telling you that this is a strategy, but it's not right now." That was something that's a maybe 5-year-old strategy because right now there are very, very few foreclosures in the pipeline. There are very, very few distressed sellers in the pipeline. And that's kind of my segue to this stats that I just got. Pretty interesting. We're doing a lot of stats this week.
You
Sorry.
know,
I yeah.
if you love stats, you should be following or subscribing to Tego on YouTube, following on Facebook because he puts out a lot more than just this, and it's really good information. So go to YouTube
Well, a lot of times
and see it.
what happens is I'll see something and I'll go, "Well, that's not true," or "That's not in
Our market.
context," or "Is that's missing a piece," or I'll see some new stat, like in this case, which I'm about to talk about, that hasn't been explored before and kind of maybe does a little myth busting on the market. And in this case, it's mortgage data. What's going on with mortgages in New Mexico? And couple things that really jumped out at me is first off is that 297,000 outstanding mortgages in New Mexico,
What does outstanding mean?
meaning homes that have a mortgage. So let's say 300,000 of we're going to say somewhere around 550,000 properties in New Mexico.
See, I'm glad I asked the question because when you said outstanding mortgages, to me that meant they were behind on their mortgage.
Oh, that
That word.
have a mortgage. Yeah, outstanding is probably not the right word, is it?
Probably not.
But that's how FHFA used it, and I'm reading off of their
I
press
went,
release,
there
so,
can't be
yeah.
300,000 houses behind on their payments here.
Yeah, and by the way, this data source is FHFA, which is the entity that oversees Fannie and Freddie, and they know everything about all the mortgages in the entire country, just so we know that we got a really good data source here. The thing that's interesting, though, so there's about again, like I said, there's about 297,000, but there's about 40. I've seen different stats, somewhere between 40 and 45% of all the homes in New Mexico are free and clear, especially in the rural areas. It's a much higher percentage. In the metro here in Albuquerque, it's lower than that. It's maybe 30% are free and clear. So I thought that was an interesting stat. The other thing though that's interesting is 297,000 mortgages just right now first quarter of 24. It was actually 327,000 in 2013. So the number of people with mortgages actually decreased
Quite a bit,
even though the number of homes has increased.
right?
So again, it's just one of those other stats that just tell us that, yeah, homeowners have pretty good balance sheets right now.
Yeah.
The average interest rate of all the homes that do have a mortgage, again, that's only about 60% of all the homes, is 4.3%.
Interesting.
So that goes back to that conversation about the lock in. People are locked into their interest rate and they don't want to move because they don't want to give up their good mortgage rate. Adjustable. This is the one that I thought was interesting because once in a while I'll see some grifter, some housing grifter, if you know what I mean by a grifter. These are people that post on social media or on YouTube telling you that the sky's falling and everything's falling apart and we've got all these adjustable rate mortgages that are about to tank the real estate market. The popular grift today when you're talking about real estate is they'll put that stat out saying that there's all these adjustable rate mortgages that are about to hit, and you have to actually read into the story to realize that they're talking about commercial real estate, not residential real estate.
Hmm. I had to just Google grift because I wanted to see what grift
Okay,
really
what does
means.
grift mean?
It's got it as a verb, engage in petty or small scale swindling, like how long have you been grifting? Or noun, a petty or small scale swindle.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in the financial information world as well as our world, which is real estate, that basically make a living off producing videos and content telling you how bad everything is.
Yeah, I just looked at it again. Group of methods for obtaining money falsely through the use of swindles, fraud, dishonest gambling, etc.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Putting
and
out information that helps you that may not be.
Well, it's on social media and YouTube in particular, it's all about getting views and people love to for some reason hear that the sky's falling. So it's really popular, especially in the real estate space. And are there things to be aware of? Absolutely. That's why I follow all this stuff, right? And I put out the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? I said the lowest number of home sales in Albuquerque since 2013. I'm not hiding it. It's slow, right? Okay. Anyway, But adjustable rate mortgages in New Mexico, in the United States, 3.5% of all the mortgages in the United States, the entire country, are an adjustable rate mortgage, which still is really, really, really low. In New Mexico, it's only 1.6% have adjustable rate mortgages, which is interesting because that was been really popular over the last couple of years since mortgage rates went up, but still it's only 1.6% of those 300,000 mortgages
But
that have a adjustable rate mortgage.
it's only the people who've had to get a mortgage lately because when rates were 3 and 4%, people weren't getting adjustable rate
Yeah, there's no
mortgages,
reason. Yeah.
so there was no reason, so yeah, and it doesn't seem like we've seen a lot of lenders pushing adjustable rate mortgages. I haven't seen much promotion for it since interest rates went up.
Well, the thing is, the qualifying for it is actually quite difficult. We're not talking about 2004 and 2005, right? We're talking about 2023, 2024 mortgages, adjustable rate mortgage. They're totally different animal than we had back in the day. A couple other things I thought was interesting. The median monthly payment in New Mexico is $1,226, which is very affordable when you think about where things are at. Average credit score for people that have mortgages is 736.
Wow, I would
So
have guessed lower.
FICO score. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
It's
good
actually a
job,
little
New
bit lower
Mexico.
than national average, which is 743. We're 736, but still, I mean, that's good. I mean, again, it just shows you that homeowners, for the most part, are in pretty good financial shape for the most part. And this is the last thing I want to say is the number of homes that are mortgages that are underwater, meaning that their loan to value ratio is more than 100%, is 0.04%.
Hmm.
So let's say about 1,100 of those 300,000 mortgages are underwater. And that's probably people that just purchased very recently or got a for whatever reason. I mean, it's almost non-existent. It's very low, and it's the total about 5% of people have 90% or less equity. That makes sense. Did I say that right?
I don't know.
10% or less equity. That's what I meant to say. So,
Oh, those are
th
newly they put
yeah,
3% down or they did a VA with no money down. Yeah.
right, right. So about 5%, let me put it this way, 95% of people have basically the ability to sell their home without any issues and not being
Not
behind
have to
or
bring money to
not have bring
closing.
money to close like we saw back in, 2010, 2011. So anyway,
Okay.
yeah, a lot again, more stats. Sorry about all the stats this week, but it is what it is. It's trying to keep everybody informed.
We have some coming soons, open houses, things like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, the best way to find them all the time is on our website at welcomehomeabq.com. We have an open house tab there where you can see all the open houses that are happening that any realtor has put in MLS, not just the ones that our team is handling. Coming soons are houses that are like in the pipeline, getting ready to be on the market that we as realtors have access to. And we have one right now at 842 Vista Patron Drive in Bernalillo. That's that Santiago neighborhood that's across from, well, Enchanted Hills in North Rio
It
Rancho.
feels like Rio Rancho, but it's really Bernalillo.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. So, a lot of people miss that neighborhood because they don't search Bernalillo for their next home, right? And this house is pretty special. It is a two-story, but it backs up to the Alegria del Webb Active 55 adult community, and it sits up above that neighborhood, and this house has stunning backyard views to the mountains from the back of this home. It sits out up above Alegria, and just beautiful woodwork, beautiful back patio with a wood ceiling, patio cover, whatever.
Yeah.
The house is a two-story, but the main floor has the primary bedroom as well as living space, kitchen, dining, and all of that. So it's a really great floor plan and great lot. It's the lots in there are pretty small, but this one lives very large because you have the long view to the mountain. And for those of you that haven't been in North Rio Rancho or this area of Bernalillo to see the mountain from there, you think it's big from the Northeast Heights, but when you get up to North Rio Rancho and look at the mountain, it's really stunning. So if you're interested in that one, it's going to be 499.5. Should be ready sometime next week. So you're hearing about it here first because it's in coming soon status, but it's not quite ready for showings. So that one's a good one to know about. We did put one on the market just right after the 4th of July, a really awesome home in the Northeast Heights, going to have an open house. It's at La Grima de Oro. I wonder what Eddie could tell us what La Grima de Oro stands for. Oro is gold, is it? I don't know.
You're asking the wrong person.
I don't know
I
either.
know. I've lived here 35 years. I should know, but
Yeah. Well, I don't know either, and I've lived here longer than you. Open house Saturday, July 6th from 12 to 2. You can go see Gabe over there at that open house. It's a Roberson built home, 2000 just over 2,000 square feet, a 4-bedroom, two-car garage, beautiful single story, beautiful home. If you get online and look at the photos of it, it's really great house. 9507 La Grima de Oro Northeast, 87111. So that one's open. Of course, anything you want to see, we can schedule an appointment and get you in, create your own tour of homes for you. You don't have to look around for open houses. So just give us a ring at 448-8888, and we'd be happy to get you scheduled to see any of those homes. We have plenty of others and others in the hopper. So if there's something you're looking for, give us a ring. We'd be happy to help.
Tracy, I want to we talked about this because I was at this event last week, which was a bunch of different mortgage lenders as well as the representative from the New Mexico Mortgage Finance Authority who does first time home buyer programs, down payment assistance programs. And I'm not going to get into weeds on it because this was a 2-hour presentation. And the takeaway is there's a lot of good programs out there to help people get into homes. A lot of them have income qualifying limits. So they're designed for, lower income depending on what it is. So like the Mortgage Finance Authority programs, they have a limit, maybe in I think it's 92,000 for a one or two household home person
Person.
person. Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of them are based on how many people are in the family
Correct,
to how
correct.
much you can make a year.
But I mean, like the MFA program, there's, $8,000 down payment assistance. There's a lot of times it's better mortgage rates than the going rates. One thing they also have is they have this targeted areas program, which is a really cool program. And what that one is set up for are certain areas of town, and there's currently about 50 homes that fall into those areas, these different census tracts. In that program, you don't even have to be a first time home buyer to qualify for that program. You get the good interest rate. And on that program, you actually get the best interest rate that they MFA offered in the last 12 months, which may save you a half or more percent. So it's a good program. They're areas that do that they're lower income neighborhoods basically is what they are, and they're incentivizing people to come into those areas. So that's a good program. But Fannie Mae has a program called Home Ready. Freddie Mac has a home program called Home Possible. These are 97% loan to value ratio, so 3% down. They've got again, you have income limits. I mean, there's all these different programs. I mean, there's programs for people that maybe just got out of school and don't have great income right now, but in the future they most likely will have better income. We call them doctor loans, but there it could be other people that qualify as well. And those some of those are 100% down payment or 100% financing programs. So that the point, the takeaway here is you talk to most mortgage lenders and they say, yeah, we have about 200 different programs that we can use to help people purchase a home. And that's really the takeaway is don't think that it's just one size fits all and think that, well, I can't do it. No, you need to talk with us. Let us introduce you to some great lenders. We can learn a little about your plan or what you're trying to do. But then when you talk to your lender, tell them everything, right, Tracy?
We need the lender to know everything. We had Melissa on the team this past week come in and say that she had a client who was saying, "Well, I really have $30,000 that I could add to it to buy that house that's over what the lender said I could afford." And she said, "No." They said, "Don't keep things from your lender. They need to know you have that 30,000 and verify it. You can't just show up and all of a sudden say, "I have 30,000 more than I told you about," right?
Yeah.
We need to tell the lender everything so they can get you in the right program and make sure you don't have a crash and burn at the end.
Yeah, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Everything for sure. And obviously, you want to get with a lender you trust and somebody, but I mean, they have confidentiality requirements and all that good stuff too. So yeah, the best thing to do is tell them your entire plan
Right.
and tell them your entire financial situation and what you're trying to do. And they can help direct you to one of these, again, hundreds of programs to get you into a home.
I know we're running out of time, Tigo, but we also want to mention that a lot of out of state online lenders don't know about all these in state programs. They don't even offer them because every lender here locally doesn't even offer them all, right? Because you have to have expertise and you have to agree to carry that line, so to speak.
Correct.
So it's really important because not every lender might have the program that's just right for you, but we can help you with that. So give us a ring, 448-8888. We always run out of time. I know we have more things to talk about. We love real estate. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being loyal and subscribing to YouTube and liking on Facebook, and give
Hey,
us a
you got those
shout.
both right. That was good.
I know.
Subscribe YouTube, like Facebook.
I actually wrote a note so I'd remember because I always say, follow us on YouTube, and you go, it's subscribe, Tracy. So I actually made myself a note. I glanced down at it. Anyway, we really appreciate all of you. We hope you're having a great holiday weekend, and we look forward to hearing from you on how we can help you with your real estate needs or questions.